just consistent mismanagement that we have seen from this government. So of course they're going to do their best to shut it down at every single step of the way.
Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everyone. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Fox. Most of the time, we get excited when something that we theorize comes to fruition. However, this was not one of those times.
The Standing Committee on Government Operations and Estimates, or OGO, met today to continue talking about the NDP's motion about Canada Post. And unbeknownst to us, because it was conveniently not posted on the Parliament website, Our Commons, they also met to continue hearing testimony from Michelle Lafleur on ARRIVECAN.
For those of you that joined us on the live stream on Monday, you heard us explain why Larry Brock did not want to share with committee the investigation report that he received from Cameron McDonald and Tony Utano. Kelly McCauley, the Conservative chair of OGO, planned to distribute the report to the Liberals after the meeting with Michael Lafleur. We had theorized that it was for a good reason, and for those that missed it, here's what we said.
I know exactly why the Conservatives played it this way.
To make the NDP and the Liberals look like fools?
No, but that's a side effect.
Oh.
Why does the chair seemingly have the document, and it hasn't been distributed yet? Why does Brock have the document, seemingly gifted directly from Utano and McDonald? And why don't anyone else at the committee have it? The reason that they did this, and I'm 100% confident they did this, is because I think if they had the report, as soon as this meeting started, there would be a motion to adjourn.
Oh, that makes sense.
One of the NDP or the Liberals would have had a motion to adjourn, and then they couldn't talk about any of these allegations that were in the report. And it would have shut it down right there and then. Now, the report was subsequently distributed to the rest of committee before today's meeting. And as it turns out, our analysis was completely correct down to a T.
I'm sorry, did I?
In both official languages.
Yeah.
No.
Just saying thank you. Oh, thanks. We are now on to ARRIVECAN. Mr. Lafleur, sorry, 2 seconds. Yeah, just shut up. Go ahead.
My apologies. Yeah, we on the side of the House would like to dismiss the witness.
That's not the proper format.
I like to dismiss the mistress in the proper format. I like to move a motion to dismiss the witness.
Wow. That guy's human garbage. Like, did you hear that? I want to dismiss the witness.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
And
After Lafleur's been sitting there for half an hour while you guys discuss Canada Post matters.
yeah, that's one thing for everybody to know. So Lafleur, he had to show up at the beginning of the meeting. And he's been sitting there for 34 minutes listening to all this crap go on about Canada Post, waiting for the meeting to start. Okay? Now, even Sousa, even him, you could tell by his eyes, like he was just taking joy in this. Like it's gross. It is absolutely gross. But the interesting thing here is that the Conservatives get to respond to this. And why? Because he actually didn't move a motion to adjourn the meeting. If you move a motion to adjourn the meeting, there is no debate. It's a non-debatable motion. It goes immediately to a vote. But because this was just classified as a normal motion, there is debate. So the Conservatives actually get to speak to this now. I'm not sure if Sousa thought this through.
Okay, as such, that becomes a debatable motion, Mr. Sousa. So we'll take a speaking list. Mr. Brock, Mr. Chouari, Ms. Block, Mr. Sousa. Mr. Brock, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm rather surprised at Mr. Sousa's suggestion that we relieve the witness, maybe because, without explanation from him, maybe because of the hour. It's 20 to 6. This meeting was supposed to start at 3:30. I would have thought, though, that there would have been some communication to the witness that our votes, 7 votes, in fact, delayed the start of this particular meeting. I would have hoped as well that there would have been some communication to the witness in advance of today's date, that he was not expected to provide any testimony and answer any questions right at the start of the meeting because of committee business. There's no indication as to how long that committee business would have taken, but I believe the witness had committed himself to 1 further hour of Q&A. These are relevant issues with this particular witness. We did not finish the full 2-hour allotment that we had because of numerous points of order and discussions with respect to material that was not in the possession of regular members of this committee. That has since been rectified, as I understand it. They've had well over 24 hours to receive the material. We are ready to proceed, and unless Mr. Sousa provides some justifiable reason why this witness ought to be excused, I would suggest that we have the witness here, and if he's able to stay for the 1 full hour, we use that time accordingly. Thank you.
So there you go. The material has been distributed. Liberals had over a day to review it, and at first opportunity, they want to shut it down. I swear, Trudeau's words of the most transparent government ever keep ringing in my ears. Because they just want to keep shutting this down, and they're getting so scared of what's coming out of this investigation for ARRIVECAN. They are terrified of how far it's going to go. That's obvious because this isn't the first meeting that they've done this at. But this is why the Conservatives have to resort to these tactics to actually ask questions and to review material. Because when you give it to the Liberals, they say, oh, that's going to look bad. Shut her down.
Thank you. Mr. Jory, please.
Thank you. First of all, let me thank Mr. Lafleur for choosing to come back. I had an opportunity to read the preliminary statement of facts for both Mr. Cameron MacDonald as well as Mr. Antonio Utano. I am actually flabbergasted by the fact that, given what's in here and the fact that the investigation is still going on by RCMP, the internal investigation is still going on. The AG hasn't finalized her report, that we somehow, and I'm trying to find the right word, we somehow thought it would be a good idea, and I was part of the group that voted to have Mr. Lafleur here and have this document made available to us. But it wasn't before that I had this document read.
He just admitted it.
I was going to say, he just said the quiet part out loud.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
we thought this was a good idea to have him here. We thought this is a good idea to ask for the report. Now that I've read it, this isn't a good idea to have him here or have the report.
I swear the average IQ of these Liberal MPs is room temperature.
Like, come on. This is what we're talking about right here. This is just unbelievable. As you know, with every meeting that goes by, you think you heard it all. Nope, haven't heard it all yet. It's still coming.
And that's where I'm going to stop, because if I start getting into the level of detail of content that's available here. And the investigation is not completed. And we even, through limiting our question to the process and general, we could lead a conversation such a way that would force Mr. Lafleur to make statements that one could deduce certain conclusion that it is very, very, very risky. We saw almost half an hour after our last meeting, we received a communication from certain legal bodies that we should be very careful about what information do we share about this report and what this report is all about and the role that each one of the witnesses, etc., are playing. And this came almost before we even got an email which gave us the link into these documents. These documents, by the way, were made available in hard copy to the Office of the Clerk on January 29th.
In both languages.
In both official languages. For some reason, it sat. Had I had the opportunity to read this document, I would have moved the motion to dismiss the witness. And I would not support any other activities on ARRIVECAN and Butler AI investigation or committee or calling any witnesses whatsoever.
How do you figure?
So he would want to shut down literally the entire committee ARRIVECAN investigation. That's what we're saying here, folks.
We're both just sitting here shaking our heads because we just cannot believe this.
But it begs the question, everybody. What is being kept from us? For a silly little app that cost $54 million, but a silly little app.
These guys are petrified of the Conservatives finding out the truth. What is the truth? What are they so scared of? Why are they constantly shutting down committee, kicking out the Auditor General, kicking out this guy? Like, what is going on here? How deep does this go?
And that's the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And it is not a surprise to me at all that the government has asked to dismiss the witness because of the embarrassment of this entire scandal. $54 million for an application, $11 million paid to two individuals working in their basements, just consistent mismanagement that we have seen from this government. So, of course, they're going to do their best to shut it down at every single step of the way. And, of course, they are going to have their coalition partner, the NDP, help them to shut down this investigation every single step of the way, including having Mr. Lafleur here today, Mr. Chair. So this is not a surprise to me at all. And as well, I worry very much about the precedents that we are setting in this committee, Mr. Chair. You know, we previously had
Let me interrupt. Colleagues, please, can we end the chatter back and forth? And I will say that for both sides, please.
Yeah,
Show
thank you
the
very much,
respect for
Mr.
Mrs.
Chair.
Cusi.
I appreciate that. I know on the Liberal benches, they're used to their leaders shutting women down. And so, you know, they do what they see, and they're attempting to do that here as well. So, as I said, the precedent of that we've seen within this committee of witnesses canceling as a result of, or not being able to show up as a result of medical notes, that what we've come to term on this side of the committee bench as the ARRIVECAN flu, very, very unfortunately. And now we have another negative precedent being set here today, that the dismissal of witnesses that have been called to this committee. And in fact, one member of this committee who has said that from now on they will move to dismiss every single witness that is brought to this committee on ARRIVECAN.
We won't bore you with everything else that was discussed. but we will give you the result. So shortly after committee ended, Stephanie Kuzy and the Conservatives, they recorded a video and posted it to social media.
Hi, everyone. It's Stephanie Kuzy here at Government Operations Committee. It just wrapped up. Guess what? The Arrive scam cover-up continues. Larry Brock, give us the play-by-play.
Typical Liberal fashion, we have been calling a number of witnesses on ARRIVECAN. Liberals were okay hearing from witnesses until the investigator who was investigating two key individuals. It got really heated at the last meeting. They didn't want to hear it any further. They wanted to shut us down. They wanted to silence us. They're hiding the truth from Canadians. This is a cover-up. It's being aided by their NDP coalition, and they're up to their usual games, as usual.
That's right. I've got with me as well MP Garnet Genuis. Garnet, what are your thoughts on this continuation of the ARRIVECAN cover-up?
Well, so the bottom line is that when the Liberals say nothing to see here, we know there's a lot to see. $54 million were given to GC Strategies to build an app. GC Strategies is a company with no capacity to do IT work. They took the money, subcontracted all the work. We found out about fraudulent resumes submitted. We have senior public servants accusing each other of lying. Really, this is scandal on scandal on scandal. We have the government's internal investigator here that we were supposed to ask questions to. This is an investigator who effectively the government can actually control, not a real independent investigation. So we wanted to ask questions about the work he was doing. The Liberals didn't like the questions we asked last time he was here, so they put forward a motion to try to shut this down. Again, we see the Liberals desperate to hide what actually happened with the Arrive scam while Conservatives are fighting to get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. And my message, I mean, they might want to shut this down, but it is going nowhere. We've got the Auditor General report coming out on Monday. They might want this to go away. This isn't going away, is it, Kelly Block?
Absolutely not. I think your message was loud and clear. Stay tuned for the Auditor General's report next week. This cover-up will not go away.
Exactly.
Conservatives will not be silenced. We act on behalf of Canadians. We will dig for the truth. We will uncover the evidence, and we will expose this corrupt, unethical Liberal government for what it is.
Absolutely. You can see behind us that the Liberals are fleeing the scene after trying to dismiss this witness, after trying to shut down this. As Mr. Brock said, we will not allow ourselves to be silenced by this Liberal government or Canadians to be silenced, because that's who we're working for here. That's who we're getting answers for here. It's you, Canadians, and no one's going to stop us. We'll see you soon.
Hear, hear.
Wow.
That's our party, everybody.
These guys are going to bat for Canadians.
Yeah, and it's almost emotional to hear them talk about this, because it's like, you know, at least somebody is speaking up for us. Somebody is trying to ask the hard questions. And somebody is not letting Trudeau and his Liberal government get away with this crap anymore.
Well, and not only is it a waste of the witnesses' time, it's also a waste of taxpayer money. I was doing a little bit of digging while we were sitting here watching the committee video, and on the ourcommons.ca website, under guides for witnesses appearing at committee, there is a expense claims section. It says, when witnesses must travel to give testimony before a committee, the committee will usually reimburse expenses upon request for persons appearing as individuals or for one or two witnesses per organization. Expenses include economy class air travel, other practical modes of transportation, and reasonable costs for accommodation. Meals and dependent care expenses will be reimbursed in accordance with House of Commons rates. So I'm going to assume that Mr. Lafleur is probably in Ottawa anyways, because that's where CBSA is headquartered. But if he's not, and for other witnesses as well, every time the Liberals pull a stunt like this, the taxpayer is footing the bill for the witnesses to travel to committee and for their accommodation if necessary, and for their meals at a per diem rate that is in accordance with the House. So taxpayers are paying for these witnesses to show up just to be excused immediately.
And even if they are living in Ottawa, taxpayers are paying for these people to sit at committee and do nothing and not do their actual job that they're supposed to be doing for the federal government.
That's right.
So this is where we're at, everybody. But we've been waiting for the Auditor General report It's out in 5 days. Comes out on Monday the 12th. And boy, oh boy, are we interested to see what that uncovers. That's the forensic financial audit of the ARRIVECAN project. And it's going to shed a whole other light on what's going on here. I'm not looking forward to reading it, but I am looking forward to reading it.
And the great thing about this audit report is it's not done through committee. It's done on its own. So the Liberals won't be able to shut it down.
Right. So the only thing that's going to get shut down hopefully this spring is Trudeau's government.